My dear students, good evening to everybody. We already started CBSE intermediate secondary topics. Both English and Telugu medium in chemistry, we have already discussed lecture 1 regarding double salt. Today we are going to discuss about lecture 2, that is complex compound. Complex compound. Complex compound. Okay. So there are many definitions. There are many definitions regarding complex compounds. If you go through it, you will have a clear-cut idea. Complex salt is, you know what is double salt? We already discussed it. Two salts, equimolar proportions, crystallization method, carnallite, more salt, chrome salt, potash, alum. These are all the examples of double salt. They lose their identity in aqueous solution, but they do not lose their identity in solid solution. But if you take complex salt is the simple salt which they formed may or may not be in equimolar proportions. They formed they formed may or may not be equimolar proportions. A simple salt which they are formed may or may not be in equimolar proportions. Okay. Or we can say a complex salt is a compound, a compound consists of complex a compound consists of a central metal atom having coordinate covalent bond with ligand 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 around it. A compound consists of a central metal atom having coordinate covalent bond with the ligand around it. Okay. If you go through it, if you take one example regarding complex compound, if you take it, at the same time, KCN 4KCN plus FeCN taken twice, we have 4KCN FeCN taken twice. We can write like this: K4 FeCN6. Potassium ferrocyanide, hexacyanoferrate. Okay. If you take potassium ferrocyanide K4 FeCN6 dissolved in water, dissolved in water, we have 4 potassium ions plus FeCN6 4 minus. This is a complex. This is a complex. This is a complex. You have many examples. Potassium ferrocyanide we have taken. If you go for discussions, 4K plus hexacyanoferrate 2. This is a complex. But here the thing is, what is the difference between double salt and complex compound? డబుల్ సాల్ట్కి కాంప్లెక్స్ కాంపౌండ్కి తేడా ఏంటంటే డబుల్ సాల్ట్ని కనుక నీటిలో మనం కరిగించినట్లయితే ఇఫ్ యు డిజాల్వ్ ది డబుల్ సాల్ట్ ఇన్ వాటర్ ఇట్ కంప్లీట్లీ డిసోషియేట్ into its ions. We already discussed that issue. But if you take complex potassium ferrocyanide dissolved in water, we have 4K plus FeCN6 4 minus. We do not have ferrous ions in water. We don't have cyanide ions in water. We don't have ferrous ions. We don't have cyanide ions in aqueous solution. In aqueous solution, we have only K plus ions only. K plus ion only. So complex exists in solid state as well as in aqueous solution. Complex, whenever you are supposed to know the difference between the double salt and complex, complex exists in solid state as well as in aqueous solution, because in aqueous solution you do not find any ferrous ions, you do not find any cyanide ions, but a double salt will give completely dissociate and give completely respective ions, but complex do not give such type of ions. Some ions present in the complex are not obtained when they dissolve in water. Please note it. Complex potassium, ferrous, cyanide ions are there. But when you dissolve in water, we have only K plus ions and FeCN6 4 minus ions are there. No question of ferrous ions, no question of cyanide ions are there. For which this is nothing but complex. This is a complex do not lose their identity in solid state as well as do not lose their identity in solid as well as in liquid, in aqueous solution. అక్వస్ సొల్యూషన్ అంటే కాంప్లెక్స్ని మనం నీటిలో వేసినప్పుడు అన్నీ పూర్తిగా విఘటనం చెందదు, అన్ని అయాలుగా పూర్తిగా మారదు. అదే డబుల్ సాల్ట్ని మనం నీటిలో కరిగిస్తే మనకు అందులో ఉన్న అయాన్స్ అన్నిటికి కూడా అవి టెస్ట్ని ఇస్తాయి. బట్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ కాంప్లెక్స్ ఓన్లీ వీ హ్యావ్ పొటాషియం అయాన్స్ ఓన్లీ. వీ డు నాట్ గివ్ ferrous ion, they do not give cyanide ion. So this is the most important difference between double salt and complex. If you take another example, CuSO4 plus excess ammonia, we have CuNH3 4 SO4, tetraamine copper sulfate, dark blue salt. This is also complex. When you dissolve this complex in water, we have Cu వాటర్ డిజాల్వ్ చేసినప్పుడు వీ హ్యావ్ CuNH3 4 plus 2 plus sulfate ions minus 2. We do not have copper ions, we do not have amines ions. Only we have sulfate ions in complex. So they do not lose their identity. తమ ఉనికిని కోల్పోవు. కాంప్లెక్స్ నీటిలో వేసినప్పటికీ కూడా అవి పూర్తిగా అయాన్లుగా మారవు. అది కాంప్లెక్స్గానే ఉంటుంది. దట్ ఈస్ మెయిన్ డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ double salt and complex. Please note it. At the same time, another example. AgNH3 taken twice right. If you take this one, diamine silver nitrate, diamine silver nitrate. If you dissolve in water, we have AgNH3 taken twice plus NO3 minus. You see, we do not have silver ions, we do not have ammonia ions, only this type of complex we obtain. So, complex definitely do not lose their identity in solid state as well as in aqueous solution. That is the most important difference between solid, double salt and complex. So, do not double salt do not exhibit any isomerism, but in complex compounds exhibit isomerism may or may not be soluble in water. నీటిలో కరగొచ్చు, కరక్కపోవచ్చు. ఐసోమరిజాన్ని ప్రదర్శిస్తుంది, ఐసోమరిజం చూపిస్తుంది. నీటిలో కరగొచ్చు, కరక్కపోవచ్చు. సో many examples are there. At the same time, another example, AgNH3 taken twice, silver chloride, diamine silver chloride. This is also one of the examples of complex. So this is the difference between the complex and double salt. So please note it.